As a new student of watercolor, I know it's going to take some time before I've built up enough skills to create a work of art, a masterpiece worthy of hanging on a wall. And in the meantime, I want to play around with these paints and some of the supplies I've collected thus far so that I can learn a little bit more about how these paints work. So today we're creating a watercolor masterboard, which I'll use in the next project. So stay tuned. We are getting messy today. Welcome back to Livie's Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel, and I'm your host, Pham the Fabulous. For more ideas, inspiration, swaps, and challenges, click the link in the description below to join our craft community, The Maker Exchange, on Facebook. So today I have pulled out the watercolor paper pad that I picked up from Dollar Tree. This happened to cost $3. They're heavyweight, ideal for wet media. It also has acid-free on the cover, 350 grams. And these sheets are 8 by 10. In that pad, there's 24 sheets. So I would strongly suggest if you are in the beginning stages of learning any form of wet medium to go and grab yourself one of these pads. They're $3. Come on now. Now, I've also pulled out some different paint brushes. I've gotten a couple of them I've gotten in Happy Mail, and a few others I've picked up from Hobby Lobby. I've got my porcelain palette gifted to me by our good friend Maria of Art Alchemy, and I'm also using the Komorebi. There we go, Komorebi. I don't even have Kirotaki. Where was I going with that? The Komorebi watercolor palette that I've shown a number of times on the channel. You'll also see those little paintbrush holders in the back that I picked up from Temu. Now, they offer those like on Amazon in porcelain, but I'm cheap and I just need them to hold the paintbrush. As I advance and as my videos become more elegant, perhaps I'll invest in something of more substance, the porcelain ones. But in the meantime, this is what we're using. Now, the goal for today is to, one, learn how the paints move, how they interact with one another, how they mix one on the other. And I'm doing primarily wet on wet. So, and that means, of course, you wet your page, you drop your paint, and then you can also add more paint on top of that. That would typically be once the paint has become damp, it would be wet on damp. Anyways, there's plenty more watercolor. Well, there are, because it's not more, because I'm not one of them. There are definitely a number of different watercolor artists that provides a in-depth information on how watercolors work and the terminologies used thereof. Anyway, so I'm going to spray down my palette so I can activate these paints and let the party commence. So the first color that I'm going to lay down on this page is this deep teal, this moody, dark, beautiful color. Now you guys know I love all of the turquoises, all of them. The turquoise, the teals, the blue greens, anything of that combination. I love it. I do believe, however, that I probably put a little too much down, but fear not, it will all work out in the end. I can't promise you that you'll love it, but I'm gonna be able to work with it. One of the things that I will tell you about with regards to this session, this watercolor session here, is that it is definitely important to whatever medium you're using um, to know what you're using it on and play around with it so you'll know how it reacts on it when it's time for you to actually use it for whatever artistic expressive project or whatever you're working on. And in this case, this because this paper, I believe it is cold pressed, it has a lot more texture to the page, to the yeah to the paper, and so that does not give you, like, if you were trying to write a line, your lines won't be as precise. Your paint lines won't be as precise, especially if you're doing wet on wet or wet on damp, because there's little bumps and divots in the paper. So it's not enough to just know the medium that you're using. You also have to know or be familiar with what you're laying it on top of, whether it's gessoed, whether it is hot pressed or cold pressed, whether it's a fiber. All of those things help they determine what your end results will be. They play a major role in it, I should say. So the other color that I added on top of it was this kind of yellow color. I don't even know the names of these colors. I'm going to tell you in just a second. So the first color was turquoise. It's actually called turquoise. It should be like underwater, deep sea turquoise, but it's just turquoise. And the second color is gamboge, that orangish color up in the right hand corner. I may or may not give you the additional colors that I'm using, but what I can do is list those colors down in the description box in the order that I'm actually using them, because I think a couple of them are taken from a few of the pans in the upper left hand corner. So you can't actually see them, although you can see what color I'm laying on the paper. You don't see where it's actually coming from. That being said, can you guys see how I am so struggling with, how to hold uh, this brush? I mean, let me just say this. My hat goes off to those who have taken time out of their lives to become formally trained in the arts in which they love. I have not been as fortunate as those to set aside the time. So it's now. The time is now where I'm setting aside a little time in my day, in my weeks, in my months to familiarize myself. But in the meantime, before I can become, a master of this thing, I am quite awkward with the paintbrush. I'm used to holding a paintbrush, for acrylic paints and just letting it do what it does. But the thing about watercolor is you have to be intentional about the pressure, the angle in which you hold your brush. And that is a reflection of muscle memory later on down the road. So while I have to, one, learn how to hold the brush, to practice using the brush to know when I want to use certain strokes, the certain pressures, and even so much as to say the different types of brushes, angles. You've got the cattail, you've got the dagger brush, you've got the liner, and so on and so forth. The wash brush. There's a variety of, so there you the complexity of this thing, I think, which is what draws me into watercolor to begin with. The complexity of this is intriguing to me. There is no one set way to do anything, and there's a good chance that no matter what your experience level is, you will never fully execute from start to finish exactly what's in your mind. You do have to have some flexibility in what you expect for the outcome to be, because you can't control water no matter how hard you try. You can work with it, you can work with its natural tendencies, but at the end of the day, water is going to do what it sees fit to do. And so right now I'm just putting down some colors that I like. Really, no rhyme, no reason to it. Just contrasting colors. Of course, the teal color is definitely just because it's my favorite, but the other ones have a little bit of punch to them. So I'm just, you know, playing around, putting the paint down, enjoying the flow of the water, the watercolor on the paper, seeing how the ink, the pigments move I should not say ink because we don't know if this is ink based. I don't know it. But seeing how the pigments move, and just, because I have no expectation, I have no idea, preconceived notion as to what I wanted to happen. I just sat down, know that I was going to make a masterboard, would rely on the fact that I have two hands and water, running water, and electricity to provide the light for me to see. And outside of that, it's really all up to chance because skill is playing absolutely no role in the creation of this masterboard. But let me tell you something, I'm absolutely having fun. And I hope you guys are having fun watching it. Now, I can ramble on. I think I'm going to let you have a break while I speed this thing up a little more and let you, just take in some of this process before I come back and talk your ear off some more. Okay? All right, so you guys have seen me combine a couple of colors to come up with varying shades of the colors that I've started off with. Um, is it a good match? Probably not. Are they complementary? As far as I'm concerned, but I'm having fun, so I think that's the ideal, and I'm learning. You know, that's the big part of this. This is uh, even with small children, the more they play, the more they learn. So just playing around with the watercolor paints and combining colors. There is a complete art to color mixing, because if you know the pigments, and you mix based on your knowledge of the pigments, then you have a good shot at getting a color that you anticipate. That isn't what I'm doing because I don't know the pigments, okay? I'm just mixing colors to see what I can get, and I'm having a blast doing it. Now, I hope you are enjoying this, because the next video following it will be, it'll be in a couple of days, but it will be of me using this complete masterboard to create a few more things from it, in which that's where I put my special razzle dazzle touches on. So I encourage you to come back. Now, since you're here and you're still watching, can I ask that you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button? This just helps to ensure that this video gets seen by more people just like you. It just helps with the little algorithm thing. And if you are not currently a subscriber, this is a wonderful time while I'm chit-chatting and not doing way too much on the video. This is a great time for you to hit the subscribe button and become an official member of the YouTube family. This community is amazing, and you don't want to miss anything. And once you hit that button along with the notification bell, you'll be notified of every video that I have coming up, and you don't want to miss the next one. Obviously, I mean, it's obvious. Now, let me just give a shout out to the returning subscribers. You guys have been holding me down for years. I truly appreciate your comments, your feedback, your likes, your sharing me in your creative spaces, and your encouraging words, not just to me, but to one another. I look forward to coming back. You guys make it possible. while I'm giving shout outs, let me make sure I give a shout out to my Patreon family. You guys, um, being paid subscribers, you ensure that I have the resources needed to provide this content, not just to Patreon, but to the YouTube family. So I want to thank you, especially from the bottom of my heart, for entrusting me with your time. And I can't thank you guys enough. Now, listen, if you want to support the channel further, if you're not already a Patreon member and you are looking for more ways to support the channel, to see this grow and to provide more content, variety of content that I do, there's a link down in the description box. I'll be happy to have you, and they will welcome you with open arms there as well. Now, I'm going to stop gabbing. I'm going to let you guys finish watching the rest of this, and then I'll be back to wrap it on up. All right, so that is your final look at the Masterboard before we take it to the next level of art. All right, I had a great time, and you can tell by the way my desk looks. I still have a little bit of that paint left over, and I'll use that on some scrap papers to create some collages with at another point in time. Those are the paint brushes that I used, and on my desk there are a few more supplies that I will be using in the next video, so remember, stay tuned. The next video will be of me using the Masterboard to create another project with, and I hope you guys will stay tuned and watch that. Come on back so you can see a girl do her thing, okay? And I will be doing my thing using these pens right here, the markers, the pens, and a few other mixed media type supplies. And so I'm looking forward to that. And just one more thing, I purchased a mixed media kit from Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago, and let me tell you something. They had in it a palette of watercolor paints that, now that I know better, I understand it's completely laughable. Look at the chalkiness of it. Okay, I'm not trying to be shady, but look at that compared to the other palette. Look at the shine, the stickiness, the beautiful stickiness of the Komorebi, and then look at Hobby Lobby. Okay. You get what you pay for. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe to join the crafty community, and be sure to click the bell for notifications of new uploads. Thank you so much for watching. Now stay tuned for more from Livie's Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel. Bye for now.